ya bueno.
¿Y qué?
No, que se me puso en negro. Que se me fue la pantalla.
A ver, ¿este qué es? Tripwire. Este sí es un estudio semi-conocido.
Bueno,
Vale, este es medieval.
pero este creo que
Y-
este creo que ya está. Espérate,
No, este no está, ¿eh? Estos son juegos que no han salido.
sí, pero me sonaba uno que hay como en... Ah, no, este es que lo había visto, vale, ya sé cuál es ya. El Chiviari ese.
Chivalry.
Sí, el 2.
Este también pinta bastante guapo.
Este está web. Lo que es así, tipo plataforma, ¿no?
Sí, pero las peleas y todo tienen mucha estrategia. Porque
Es
no
también como
todos...
el Night... ¿Cómo era?
Porque los enemigos, depende de los enemigos, hay ciertos enemigos que les puede ganar de una manera y otros de otra. Que te pueden hasta romper las armaduras y todo, tiene un montón de cosas que influyen.
Está bueno.
Y me da la sensación de que este también va a entrar en Game Pass.
Tiene buena pinta. En plataforma, sí.
¿Ves? Contra eso los gigantes tienes que tener cuidado porque te rompen el escudo y todo.
Song of Iron.
Mm.
En 2021.
Sale este año.
Sí.
Eso.
Vale, este no me acuerdo el nombre, pero este era... Es así, es como
Todo
un
el tiempo
platillo.
flotando.
Sí, como un platillo volante que va... No sé si era de como descubriendo los mundos o algo así.
Este
Este es muy...
es demasiado pasivo para mí. Necesito algo de acción.
That
O
was
sea, yo todo el
a
tiempo ahí
peaceful
flotando.
last trailer. It was so
Yep,
calm.
XO1, the gliding sim. I feel
Yes.
like is what that is. If you need to just zen out. I saw Blank
pensé que me iban a
Arcadian in
enseñar algo más.
chat when we were watching the trailer for King of Iron said Assassin's Creed of Persia. And I just thought that was hilarious. But you're mentioning things that I love, Blank Arcadian. So King of Iron might be right up there as well. Brianna, did you have any of those trailers that jumped out at you that you were like, yes, I gotta play that?
Yeah, that first one, Demon Turf, I think it was called, definitely caught my eye. It's kind of like a 3D platformer, but what I liked about it is they kind of experimented with that 2D style a little bit as well. So yeah, I'm excited about this. Also, what I'm equally as excited about is our very next interview coming up. Up now, streamer Dano Taj is going to connect with the devs behind Nobody Saves the World. From the developers of Guacamelee, oh, I love that name, comes Nobody Saves the World, which is a twist on an action
Esta tía me da que
RPG
está
in which you play
hablando por
many
decir.
different
Pues
character forms, each
se
with
dijo que
their
le
own
gustó un
unique
juego y de ahí
gameplay
directamente
mechanics.
quiere
You get to
saltar a la
explore a
entrevista.
vast overworld, clearing generated dungeons in an effort to beat back the calamity and save the world. Let's check out the trailer.
Vale, este es otro. Y en este van a tener una entrevista con el que hizo el juego. La música está guapa.
Sí.
Como si fuera es un RPG de acción, pero muy raro.
Yo, wow, that trailer was awesome. I've seen
Coming
that like 3
soonish.
times now. It's fantastic. My name is ZGPZonaGamerPodcast. Hello, everybody. I'm joined by
Este va a Game Pass.
lovely human beings named
Este
Grant
sí
Smith
puede
and
ser que vaya
Ian
en Game
Campbell
Pass.
from
No, lo
Xbox
tenían
Games,
puesto.
the lovely people that
¿Ya
brought
lo
you
pusieron?
Guacamelee and
No, no.
Guacamelee
Sí, sí.
2. Now bring
Estaba
you
anunciado
Nobody
que
Saves
va
the
en
World.
Game
Hi,
Pass.
guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Se puede probar
I'm
cuando salga.
doing fantastic. That, like, I'm not joking. That trailer
No, lo
gets me
bueno es
amped
que
every
todavía de
single
todas
time.
maneras
I've seen it like 4
faltan,
times now, and it's
no sé si
fantastic.
faltan
The
casi la
music's a
mitad, ¿no?
bop. The game
50
looks
más.
fantastic. Let's.
Y
I mean,
entre
let's
ellos
Sí,
talk
pero
about
faltan
it.
todavía
ten en
los
cuenta
juegos
que esto
finales, ¿no?
supuestamente son 4 horas
Dive right
o
into
3
it.
horas y pico.
What do you guys want to start
Ponle
with?
tú.
We got all kinds
Y
of
nada más que
things.
llevamos 1 hora y media, así que
Well, let's
Sí, por
we can
eso.
explain a little bit about
Y
the
falta
gameplay, how
que
it works,
metan
and what we're going for with the game.
Yeah,
Eso.
please.
I guess yeah, Nobody Saves the World.
lo
Well,
más,
to
o
start
sea, los
off,
juegos más,
that
más fuertes
that
que ya han
naked
enseñado
gray
solo
baby that you saw
creo
that
que
picked up
uno.
the wand at the start of the trailer there, that's Nobody. That's who you start the game as. And so, like, right at the start of the game, you find this magic wand, which allows you to change your form into different types of forms. So the game is basically like a top-down RPG, action RPG, but as you're playing, you're progressing through this form tree, and you're unlocking new forms and playing as different forms and experiencing like completely different types of gameplay with each kind of the forms. So at the very start of the game, the very first form you'll unlock is you gain the ability to turn into a rat, and you actually use that ability to escape imprisonment. You get imprisoned at the start of the game, and then so once you escape from your prison, you notice that the rat has this long list of quests that the rat can do using the rat's abilities. And when you start working on those quests and completing those quests, your rat starts to
haciendo
rank
streaming.
up and gain new abilities, and you also unlock additional forms that you can switch
Sí,
to,
lo
which have
tengo
their own list of quests.
puesto en
So
el otro
slowly
también.
throughout the game, as you're playing, you're
canal.
unlocking new character classes,
Me
with different
salió el
forms,
mío.
and exploring those different gameplay mechanics with the different forms, unlocking new abilities, unlocking more forms. You can see a little bit of the form tree in the video right now. You can see the player just turned into the rat. Yeah, so in a quick
Voy
nutshell, that's kind of
a,
what the
en
game
lo
is
que
about.
está en la entrevista te dejo ahí que voy a hacerme un café.
So the forums,
Te
it
dije que
sounds
te lo
like
hicieras
it's
antes,
good
jodido.
for you're showing
Hace falta.
exploratory
Bueno,
stuff and
pero
being able to kind of puzzle solve a
tampoco
little
sabía
bit.
que iba a haber
I assume there's a lot
tanto
that
tiempo
goes on with
al final,
how
pero bueno.
your gameplay is going to be with combat and
Estoy ya
such.
aquí. Ya vuelvo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like every form has their own play styles and their own moves. Like some are about like applying status effects to enemies and taking advantage of that. Some are like real heavy hitters, but they need like long windups and they need an element of like timing to them. Some can fly, some can swim. There's like lots of combat and traversal mechanics. And as you get further into the game, you can mix and match the abilities between the forms. So, then you have like a rat that can shoot arrows like a ranger, or a horse that's like biting things and poison like a rat, whatever. So the possibilities are nearly endless, you could say.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before, and I think that's the thing that intrigued me most. It sounds like there's sort of a kind of Lego plug and play, get to pick different forms and kind of play with them. Is there like how complicated can we get?
It gets pretty complicated. Like to start with, when you unlock a new form, the forms quests are all kind of like training you how to use that forms, because we want to ease the player into the new mechanics that are presented
Sure.
with each form. So it'll be like getting you to use your basic abilities. But then once you've kind of started to get the hang of a form, we start giving new quests that you can't do with the base abilities of the form. You actually have to mix and match, pull in abilities from other classes. So, like for example, if you're playing as the rat doesn't have any ranged abilities, but the rat might get a quest to, use ranged abilities to kill enemies. So you have some flexibility on how you want to do that. That's a pretty easy quest to do because there's lots of options for something like that. But they do start to get more specific, and some of them are more difficult to figure out. Like, oh, exactly how am I going to do this? And different customizations. It gives the player some room for creativity in trying to complete the quests that they're presented with.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that was probably the thing I was most excited for when sort of hearing about this. Was it looks very much like, well, it looks like my jam, I'm gonna be honest, and it looks like it's a lot of chat's jam as well. So I think we're all pretty excited about that. But that sort of freedom to play within your rules as the developers, but also be able to kind of do things on our own and get pretty creative and play with like the tools that you brought up. I think that's pretty awesome. Not to mention, I mean, just simply like Geopart says, the art style of this game looks amazing, and I couldn't agree more. There's just so much stylistic virtue to it, and it seems like it's you're taking a lot of inspiration from your past works, like Guacamelee. Can we talk about like what are sort of the things that maybe you learned in the past that you brought to something like Nobody Saves the World?
Actually, I mean, talking with the artists through the development process, of course, like one of the goals was to try and break a bit free from what we had done previously. I guess in terms of, say, like Severed and Guacamelee have a very like angular vectorized art style, but this is more like hand drawn and like lots of lines and strokes and stuff. And we also wanted it to be kind of charming, but like off-putting. Like I know like maybe like Ren and Stimpy or like Garbage Pail Kids were referenced in the art team, where like it's like appealing but also uncomfortable. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah, you
there's
can
a
see
little bit of grunge going on, and like you said, that hand-drawn art style is pretty unique because nobody does it the same, right? Not really, at least. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've seen some mentions, and something that I sort of came up just kind of watching it for the first time was a lot of thoughts of like it being a roguelite, but I wanted to drive home that it isn't a roguelite. It's very much an action RPG, but you guys have something very special, which is, I mean, do you guys want to talk about your dungeons a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the structure of the game, it's kind of like you're exploring a large overworld, not unlike one of the older 2D Zelda games, but scattered throughout this overworld, there's dungeons everywhere. We have about 25 dungeons right now in the game, and all of the dungeons are procedurally generated. So, and they all have completely different themes as well. So like, we have some standard things like, a prison or a mine, but we have a lot of really odd non-standard things like you'll be exploring a UFO or a gingerbread house, or you'll be going inside of a dead dragon, like just trying to do some weird, bizarre things. And each of the dungeons, while they're procedurally generated, they all have like different rules in their generation. So each dungeon does like have a unique feeling when you go inside of it. But if you do die inside of a dungeon, because the dungeons are going to get increasingly difficult. If you do die, you're kicked back out front, and it gives you a chance to try and create a new build to go back in again and try and be more successful with another attempt. And another thing we do as the game progresses is we start to add more mechanics to the game. So you can't just like find a form or a combo of abilities that is like ultra powerful and just stick with that.
Que mostraron el próximo Duty y todo.
Different challenges. So you'll have to kind of mix and match
Nada, pero
Not only
mientras
because you
están
want to try
hablando
and push
sobre
the form tree by
el
doing quests
juego
as different
este,
forms to unlock more classes, but
Sí.
because some of the
hablando
dungeons you just won't be able to do with
los
certain forms
developers
because those forms won't be well suited with their
cómo
abilities.
hicieron el juego, de dónde sacaron sus ideas y de qué va el juego.
I was
Y
gonna try to find
es
the
un
most broken thing I
juego
could possibly
como
find. To play
similar al
with.
Minecraft Dungeon
Now I
y todo
can't.
eso.
We still do some.
Pero dicen que
From time
después
to time
cuando
we
llegas a
do,
un cierto
like,
nivel
give
te
the
puedes
players some
hacer,
places where they can just put together their best,
te dan
most
mucha
powerful forms,
creatividad
'cause they
al
want
final
you to be able
como
to feel
cuando
that
llegas al final
experience.
del
But there
juego.
are some builds that feel pretty broken, so we can't just let you do that all the time. That's for sure. Yeah.
Dang it.
Entonces tiene
I mean,
algo ahí.
speaking of very powerful things,
Y lo
you
más
showed a
seguro que va a
couple
estar en
that
Game
look
Pass
like
porque
bosses,
el
straight
otro
up
juego que hicieron esta
from the
gente
trailer, and
también estuvo en Game Pass todo
that's
el
like
tiempo.
where
Sí.
my bread and butter comes from, is what I'm always interested in. It's like, oh, the dungeoning is like super fun and super awesome. But where's the boss? And what sort of things can you tell us about maybe some of these high level
¿Cuál era
enemies?
el otro juego que tenía?
Guacamele.
Okay, I share your love
Eh?
of bosses.
Guacamele.
They're
Ah,
in the
vale.
game. They're
Hostia,
not as much of a focus. They do
son esta
exist.
gente. Vale, vale.
Sí. Y este parece como que
I
es
think
más,
the like enemies and the
más
hazards
grande,
in
más
the dungeons
incorporado.
are almost more like the bosses, if that makes sense. Because like,
Yep, yes it does.
okay, because like
Understand.
Ryan was saying, some
Hay mucha gente
dungeons like they all have their
también
different
fanático de
themes,
este
and
tipo de
some of them are
juegos
pushing
también.
like really hard in
Sí,
certain
sí, sí.
directions. Like, I
Guacamele
just came to this
tenía
dungeon and there's
su
like
peña
poison
que lo jugaba.
everywhere and there's projectiles flying at me everywhere. Like, and you're like, okay, well, what forms and what abilities can I use to like overcome this? And that's kind of the focus of the dungeon. So then like a final encounter within that dungeon could just like lean more heavily on that element.
Sure. No, that's cool. I mean, because I mean, there are a lot of games that sort of focus on, well, this is cool. You're building up. You're trying not to die essentially, but you just got to get to the boss. This sounds like it's very much going to be a challenge all the way through. And I mean, am I wrong in saying that you're going to basically? I mean, obviously you're going to be having fun the whole time, but are you going to be restarting pretty often if you're not necessarily like just a savant at what these kinds of games bring to you?
I don't think so. We're not trying to go for like ultra hard difficulty, and we don't want players to be like dying too frequently. And although there are some places that are pretty difficult, like there are a few key dungeons that you'll have to do throughout the course of the game that are more difficult, and those are the ones that I was mentioning where we kind of like allow the player more flexibility on what their build is going to be going into those dungeons, because we want them to feel like they're creating like really powerful builds. But no, in most of the dungeons you could probably clear them in like a small number of attempts. And like I said, there's a lot of dungeons though, and we really want the player to be like moving through the world and exploring this vast overworld, meeting its inhabitants, and also jumping into all the dungeons that they're finding, and not just be stuck on a dungeon and looping on a dungeon for too long. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like you don't want something to be too frustrating. It's pretty cool. I just like the visuals of looking at the tree and how it kind of flows together. It seems really easy to read, which is a relief for a lot of things that have been, just kind of everywhere. It seems like you really paid attention to how everything looks, which is cool. You mentioned also that there's a lot of high-level story. Is there something that we should look
Twitter
forward
está la
to
gente
sort of getting
hablando
into as far
bastante bien
as
de este
like
juego.
getting fully immersed in what sort of story are we going to be looking at?
It's there's a lot of variety, I would say. I guess that's like a blanket statement about the whole game, is us trying to be like charming and varied as much as possible. But like,
Understood.
I would personally say to look forward to some of the characters you will meet. Like, my favorite is Marty Joe, the Hammer Curse, who is just like a person cursed
Sí, es
to
que
be
tiene,
a
puedes,
walking, talking
dice que
hammer.
cuando llega a un
He's got a
punto que
really
dice
good
que puedes
storyline
ser,
going on.
porque tienes
But yeah, there's all
como,
kinds
puedes,
of like
personaje que es un
many
caballo,
strange people
una
in
rata,
many strange
¿entiendes? Tiene un montón de
situations that
cosas.
you're going to
Y
meet.
dice que
And
después puedes
actually,
como, te
it
da
kind
la
of ties into
creatividad
the
que a lo mejor
quests
la
that like
rata
have been described a bit already.
puede
But
usar
the ones we
armas
talked
y
about are kind of
disparar
more
y todo.
combat quests, but
Sure.
the story allows for a whole lot of other quests. Like one of them is to get sat on, or one of them is to like fall in love, and like so you're just you'll always be finding these things as you're going through the world.
Y después en ciertas zonas tienes que ir con
That's awesome.
específicamente
No, that's cool.
con
It
la
sounds like
rata porque es lo
there's a
único que
lot to
puede
look forward to. I
entrar,
mean,
o
just
necesitas
characters
romper
in
algo y
general are
necesitas el
fun to
grandullón.
sort of get attached to
Tiene
them.
ese
I'm
tipo, como
hoping
que
you don't make me sad with any of these characters. I'm not
te
gonna
da
ask you to
parte de
react to that or
jugar con
anything,
todo.
but I mean, you know, there was a whole thing going on Twitter. It's like, don't cry, it's just a video game, but look at this game. And I feel like these types of games where you introduce really cool characters have a lot of opportunity to make that happen. so I'm both excited and hopefully I do not get too sad with these things, but it looks really, really awesome. Is there anything that we may have missed that you would like to show off today about Nobody Saves the World?
El nombre del
I think we
estudio
covered most
también
of it.
está guapo.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Inbox.
No, it's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Before we fully wrap up, where can we find Nobody Saves the World? Where can we see online, and what sort of things should we be following right now?
You can definitely follow us on Twitter, Drinkbox Studios. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and we just today, even maybe just like right now, we're opening up a public Discord for the studio. So you can, if you want to know more about the game, see more cool stuff from the game, please follow us on Discord. I think it's like discord.gg/drinkbox. Yeah, those are the places to follow us.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome. Thank you all so much. Thanks to Graham and Ian for joining me. Thank you to everybody for watching this. Please keep this on your list, because I would love to see as many people play this as possible so that I have things to talk about with you all. We're going to throw it right back to Story Mode Bay and Trisha. Thank you both for joining me, and thank you all so much for watching. See you guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks.
Thank you so much to Dan Otage and Drinkbox Studios for that interview. Oh my gosh, Nobody Saves the World. I really like the fact that there's so many generated dungeons, so the gameplay almost doesn't feel repetitive. Trisha, how do you feel about it?
I thought it looked awesome. I mean, I was watching chat the whole time during that interview, and I saw Simo Masso in chat says perfect mix of RPG and roguelike, which I thought, yes, that's a good way to describe it. Because I mean, there were a lot of people saying, "Oh, roguelike," and we heard Ian and Graham say, "Well, kind of, but also not really." But
Le
yeah,
quedan bastantes juegos que quedan por enseñar. Porque tú ten en cuenta
characters and interesting side missions that
que
they
cuando
talk about.
Twitch puso el anuncio de esto, del evento, ahí tenían el juego 12 minutos que no lo han mostrado. Hades no lo han mostrado. Scavenger no lo han mostrado. Shredders no lo han
I
mostrado.
definitely want to check it out.
The
And I
Gun
love what you
no lo
said
han
too about the
mostrado. Second
replayability,
Extinction
because I
no
feel
lo
like
han
there's
mostrado.
so many games where
Stalker
you
2
play and it's almost
también.
like it's one and done.
El
So
estudio
no,
de
I
Stalker
think
2
my memories
anunció que
will
iban a
definitely
ser
play
parte
this
de
a
esto.
couple of times
Tampoco
over
se ha
and
anunciado.
Creo que
feel
esto
so
se va para el
excited about
final,
each playthrough that I
posiblemente.
Sí,
do.
ellos
So yeah,
las
I'm
cosas grandes lo
definitely
más
checking
seguro que
this
lo van a
out.
dejar para el final,
Chat at
pero
home,
no
what
sé,
que
are your
todavía
guys'
queda
opinion? Is
bastante
there
por
a game
mostrar
that you're
y
super
alguna
excited
otra
about
que es
that you've seen
sorpresa.
from the trailers already,
Porque
or a game that you're
una
looking
cosa que
forward to?
yo
I
he
mean,
visto,
looking at the chat,
Major Nelson, que
I
es
have a
uno de los
good
que lleva el tema
feeling
de
about what you're
marketing
looking
de
forward to. I'm
Microsoft,
seeing a lot of hype for
la última
Stalker.
vez
I'm
que
seeing
dijo
a lot of hype for Among Us.
mantengan las
I'm really
expectativas
excited.
bajas,
Oh,
Microsoft
yeah.
mostró
But, I mean,
Perfect
we've got
Dark,
so much
que
to
nadie
get
se lo
into
esperaba.
today, so
Sí.
let's go ahead and keep this
Entonces,
party rolling.
no se sabe si
We've
van a
had
hacer lo
so
mismo
many
ahora
great
o
game
qué,
announcements
pero
already today.
es
But
posible.
next up, we have a number of titles
Vamos a ver.
never before revealed. Dun dun dun.
Más
That's
trailer
right,
ahora.
new game trailers.
¿Más?
Let's take a look at
Más
those
trailers
now.
ahora,
Sí,
más...
más
This is our world, or canon. It is a world gifted
Este
with
juego me
magnificent
da...
and generous
Me
nature,
recuerda a un
albeit
juego que
sometimes harsh.
jugarías
Besides
en móvil.
ourselves, the Marios, our canon is home to the Pesca,
Te iba a decir que se parece un
the
poco a...
Zephs, the Arctons,
Es que es un juego
and the
muy...
Oasis.
Tengo muchas
Tiene ese
mezclas
toque como...
de juegos así
Es un juego que puedes
pero este
encontrar
no es como
fácilmente y
los
jugarlo
Topos
en tu
esos.
móvil.
Oh,
no tiene
we
nada
must
que ver.
not forget the Migmies.
Está hecho por
Migmies bring our
uno de
people together
los
and
que han
carry
hecho
around crates
Final
containing
Fantasy, así
an
que...
essential ingredient for our
bueno.
society. This ingredient is called a harmelin. The harmony between our people depends on it.
Es un JRPG.
Un JRPG.
And last but not least, let me tell you about us. We are the demigods. Our mission is to fight and defeat the noises, the mysterious monsters that threaten our beautiful harmony. The demigods
Es
will not allow
un
anyone to
juego,
disrupt
te digo,
canon's harmony.
muy JRPG y es un juego que cuando yo he jugado algún juego que otro en móvil, es que esto me pinta totalmente a un juego así. Y va en Game Pass, así que fácilmente se puede probar.
Hostia.
Ese sí pinta bastante bien, o sea, es posible que lo pruebe. Mira este. Ah, espérate.
Hostia.
Este era el
New
juego
World.
este.
A ver, New World puede ser.
No, este no tiene nada que ver con New World. Este es un juego que
No,
tienes como tu ciudad,
en el.
pero después puedes como. Es como PvE, PvP.
Sí, es de ese
Te,
estilo. Pero
te
espérate.
vas creando tu ciudad, tú tienes que crear esa maquinita con la que vas conduciendo y todo eso, y de ahí vas tirando.
Sí, la casa la tiras ahí con la máquina y si no la recoges y sigues con la máquina dentro de tu
Sí.
casa. Pero seguro que no. No, el New World no. ¿Este cuál es?
No, el New World no es porque eso es un juego triple A. Aquí no
Sí,
van a
sí.
mostrar
Es que
ese.
¿cuál era? A ver, el nombre lo tengo ahí en la punta. Pero ¿por qué lo están anunciando aquí ahora?
Porque es un juego independiente. Es de un estudio que no tiene nada que ver con Microsoft.
Sí, pero es que si no me equivoco esto está ya en, bueno, está en Steam, ¿vale? En Steam sí está, por lo visto. Es que no me acuerdo del nombre.
Last Oasis.
Es Lazo así, está en Steam. Este está ya en Steam, pero no sé.
Mira, Out Now. ¿En serio?
¿Qué dices?
Por la cara acaban de soltarlo. Eso se tiene que mirar.
Pero claro,
Eso se tiene que
Eh,
visualizar.
a venta, en venta, ¿no? El Game Pass no ponía nada, ¿no? Era a venta para que...
Es que no sé.
Este juego no creo que pongan un precio muy caro porque en Steam, si no me equivoco, está en 30 por ahí, en 30.
Te digo ahora
30
mismo.
y poco.
Te digo ahora mismo. Voy a cambiar.
Un juego...
Voy a mirar. Way.
Y este...
¿Cómo se llamaba? Last Oasis.
Sí, Last Oasis. Nada, porque tiene doble jugabilidad, por lo que veo. Juegas en primera y luego... Es raro el juego este.
Bueno, no me sale en la tienda.
En Steam.
Esta sabe si puede que sea un juego para PC solo.
Sí, ahora mismo está en Steam, pero en Xbox
Sí, pero que...
no sé si estará... ponía...
Pero por eso que a lo mejor es un juego que solo va a salir en PC de equipo.
Posiblemente. Nada, lo miramos ahora cuando... Lost. Bueno, tenía una pinta este juego.
¿Y esto qué es?
Y esto...
Algo de... Eso es para cortar césped, loco.
Simulator. El simulator de...
¿De cortar césped?
No, de esto, ¿cómo se llama?
¿El simulador de corta césped?
Joder, tío. Mira tú.
Simulador de corta césped, loco. Venga, a cortar césped, venga.
Esto se lo sacaron ya, pero ahí ya... Hombre, creo que era de la empresa, ¿no? De los simulators, ¿no?
Sí, era de la misma gente de los simuladores. Ellos suelen hacer muchos simuladores. Y este es como si fuera un ninja.
Sí, ya un indie todo arreglo.
Dios, qué coño fue eso.
Mira eso.
cómo se iba para atrás y todo como ventaja. Está guay. A ver, el juego en realidad, si tú lo ves, no pinta mal. Para ser un indie,
Sí, tiene
no está mal.
Tiene su cosilla.
Se ve que también tiene mucha sangre y todo, porque el tío ahí está hackeando todo.
Hostia, pero se ve que eso es jodido.
Seguro que las peleas
sus
grandes... Sí.
Lot River.
El final del vídeo, loco. Con todos los clavos ahí atacando.
Oh man, so much Last Oasis hype in chat. I loved it. There was a lot to love there. Last Oasis looked great. Lost Eidolons is maybe how you pronounce it.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, Loot River looked awesome, and I saw chat also very excited for some of those things. Lawn Mowing Simulator made me giggle. If you want a really, really intense, very accurate lawn mowing simulator, then that could be you. But Last Oasis is out right now on Xbox One.
Yeah, that is incredible. And again, like you said, there's so many fans at home watching. You guys go play, go download. It looks incredible. Now, I do have a couple of questions about Lawn Mowing Simulator because is there a story mode? Are you just kind of mowing the lawn casually?
Estamos en el epicentro del...
I have a couple of questions about it. But that last trailer for Loot River, oh yeah, I'm excited for it. It's almost like you're moving in a puzzle type of motion. It's like an adventurous Tetris, if you will. Oh, I want to play it.
Oh yeah, and the second that I see Super Hot Presents before any trailer, I'm like, yes, please, let's get that. It looks like it'll be challenging, mixing the puzzle play with the combat, and the art style looks cool. The second I saw the Plague Doctor helmet and like wiping the blood off the front of it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be rad. I'm into it. And Lost Eidolons was like everything I love about the medieval character creator with what looked to be turn-based tactical combat. I don't know if we can specifically tell that from the trailer, but that's at least what it seemed to me, which when you combine those two things, that is something I am definitely up for as well. It looked really cool.
Absolutely. Now, which one was the one with the guy and he was flying in the air? Was that Lost, or am I thinking about a different one? I'm trying to remember all these titles. They were so good, but that one looked exciting too.
Maybe Last Oasis. Last Oasis was the one with like the cool airships that everybody's pedaling, and it kind of takes place in a desert-esque atmosphere. So it might be that you were thinking of. But yeah, really, really fun trailers. I'm glad to see everyone in chat getting hyped for some games. Next up on the showcase today, our next guest is one of the creative minds and developers behind this small little indie title that some of you might know, called Among Us. And on March 31st, a new map, the airship, speaking of airships, is dropping into the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for the new map now.
Among Us. El juego ese, Among Us.
Ah, sí.
Que van a poner un nuevo mapa.
Welcome, recruit. Get yourself acquainted with the layout of the Toppat airship. Enough slacking. Go do your tasks. You may need to take a ladder to get to certain areas, or maybe just take a nice shortcut. Quit grouping up. Choose a room to start in after a meeting. Someone keeps trying to sabotage us. Stop their plan. Keep your eyes peeled. We definitely have an imposter here.
Hello, Victoria. How are you today?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for being here. The chat is so hype. Like, they are moving so incredibly fast. I think everyone is beyond Yes, I think everyone is beyond
tiene un
excited, not only for Among Us,
precio
but
de
this new map coming
Mira a ver si
out.
está por casualidad en la
What can you
tienda
tell us about the
de
airship?
PC de Microsoft
tiene un precio
Yeah,
de
so the
25
airship is
aquí
actually
o en
dropping
el Game Pass de Microsoft
in like
de
5
PC.
days. Oh my goodness, 5 days.
Yo miré en consola y en
So
consola
So
no
it's
está.
very soon.
No, en
Yeah,
Game
it's going to
Pass no
be
creo
our
que esté.
biggest map
Yo
ever.
creo que no. Yo
It's
creo
going
que
to
es
come with
más
an account system. We have some free hats coming with it, as
en
well
la
as some
store
cosmetics that you
en
can
la store,
buy.
sí.
There will be all new tasks.
Pero me da que
There's
ese va a
going to
ser
be
un juego
ladders and
PC por
moving
ahora
platforms.
solo.
It's going to be hopefully a lot of fun for everyone to play with, and we are
Porque
really
yo por lo menos
excited
no lo vi en
for it to
tienda.
finally be out.
Can you tell us, for those of us that really like to play imposter, or get chosen as imposter, can you tell us what the venting system is like? Is this going to have a fully connected vent system for that pro level play?
Oh, you know it. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see how everyone gets around to murdering each other.
Oh, I cannot wait to, in the best ways, murder my friends. But with that being said, I thought it was really interesting from the trailer that after meetings, you're able to select what room you spawn back in.
Yeah, so, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll like definitely change up the strategy. And if you spawn in the same room as the
Oye,
imposter,
no lo vi.
it's just
A
your
lo
turn.
mejor que tienen que poner una actualización de la tienda de Microsoft.
¿Habrá alguna actualización en
I
la
mean,
cual
whoops. Do you have any
Es lo único que yo puedo
pro strats for
pensar.
people encountering a
va
map that
solo a
has
Xbox?
dual level play?
Nueva consola, la One
Yeah,
y PC?
just run as fast as you can.
Ah,
just
vale.
trust
Ya está.
no one, run as fast as you can.
En
You know,
consola
all that kind of
solo
fun
pone
stuff.
año 2021,
Yeah,
pero en
it's going
PC
to be a
está
lot, and we
desde ya,
hope like
o sea,
in the
desde
future
hoy.
to
Vale,
make bigger
vale.
lobbies
¿Ves?
so
Es
we
lo
can
que
have
yo
more
decía.
players,
Sí.
but that's going to be coming in the future. So
Lo pondrán en nada.
That's exciting. Now, I did
PC
recently
es
learn that
desde
the
hoy,
airship is
con
going to
acceso
be the
anticipado.
biggest map available.
Vale.
Does that mean that there
En
will
el
be new
resto,
tasks
durante el año.
available as well, or new death animations maybe?
Está bien.
yeah, so there's going to be all new tasks available, and there will be one near death animation if you buy the additional cosmetic pack that comes with it. As you can see, it's based on Henry Stickmin, which is another game that we made in the past. So there it is. It's Right Hand Man's kill animation. So we're hoping people have a lot of fun with it.
Oh man, are you allowed to tease what the new hats are?
You saw lots of it in the trailer, but we will have some new free hats, such as a unicorn hat, like a little heart, some angry eyebrows, zipper, a chocolate ice cream hat that is definitely not poop. It's definitely chocolate ice cream and nothing
Definitely
else.
not poop.
Definitely doesn't look like anything else.
Por lo pronto no lo veo tampoco.
Thank you for specifying.
No, por eso.
But with
Nah.
that being said, do you have any personal favorites about this new map?
Honestly, okay, so I know it doesn't. I don't know why I'm so excited about ladders, but I am. It's just like something. It's just so simple, and there's really nothing that special about it. But I just love the like simplicity of ladders just everywhere.
I think that's cool. I'm
Simplicity
excited
or
too.
complexity for the players. So I wonder, you said this was going to switch up people's strategies. How much are you watching gameplay? Are you watching streamers to say, all right, here's the main strategies that people are running with right now that would consider themselves, pro level at Among Us, because there are people out there who are very good at this game. How much of their gameplay do you watch when thinking like, oh man, we need to switch it up?
Oh, it really depends, right? So we do try to keep up, and well, there's a lot. Thankfully, we're very grateful to have a lot of people who play Among Us, so that's really cool. But we do, try to keep up and see who's playing and kind of their strategies and see the kinds of cool things they come up with. But within ourselves, actually, like with our game design and with our own like QA and our own play testing, it's really a mix of like our own sensibilities and just years of making games, and also just seeing how the community runs with it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like things like, visual tasks being able to be on and off, having the taskbar fill immediately, stuff like that it's kind of like through playing it, you're like, oh, this could be tweaked, and not just necessarily like tweaked to make the game better, just to give people options of what you want the difficulty to be. And I'm sure Brianna and Victoria, you can both relate to this, but it's like,
está
if
tocando
I'm
ya.
playing Among Us with my family members that don't game very
Mira, sí,
often,
ya lo vi en
my
la
settings
store
are
de
going to be very
Microsoft,
different
pero en
than if I'm
PC.
playing with a bunch of streamer friends
Vale.
that are.
Es que yo me imaginaba porque el juego parecía muy
Definitely. Yeah, I think
PC
the cool
de
thing is just
origen.
to see all the
Sí.
different kinds of people that come together to play Among Us, right? It's not.
Que no digo que
we've
no
had
saldrá en
classrooms
consolas,
of
pero
people playing,
Sí,
we've
lo tienes
had
preparado. Lo que pasa
families
es
playing.
que
It's been
ya
really nice
salió,
to
o
see.
sea, ya está a punto de salir el Rush.
That's so
Sí,
cool.
y este
I
juego
am
es
kind
un
of
poco lo
curious
mismo,
because I have being an
tampoco tiene-
imposter on my mind.
La manera de
Are
construir
you able
se
to
veía muy
maybe
PC.
kill someone
Sí.
on a ladder or one of those moving platforms, or is that off limits?
Unfortunately, it's off limits, but the fact that you thought of that, I'm like, all right, someone's ready. Someone is just ready to kill on these things.
I can see it now. Stack kill on a ladder. Story mode bay.
I know. Oh my goodness. just plopping on the floor. Just
Leave it
push
to
it
me.
off the moving platform.
Right.
If it happens, we know who is sus. So I have to ask you, Victoria, how much do you play Among Us on, like, I would say a weekly basis? Are you like, hey man, this is my work, I kind of need a timeout in my personal life, or are you just 24/7 in the game?
Yeah, because it's my work, I try to separate it. Like, I'll play it for charity and stuff. But the thing is like, I'm not actually a great imposter. Like, Forrest, who's our programmer, accurately called me out for being an imposter because no one was dying. Like, I was too anxious to kill everyone. So I don't really play it in my off time, but for work, obviously I will.
Fair enough, fair enough. And speaking of work, I mean, I just have to say, I feel like the team has been incredibly busy within the last year. How is the development team doing? How are you all doing, kind of transitioning into this high demand for the game?
Yeah, we are. I mean, one, we're grateful and excited, and we wouldn't trade it for the world or anything. But wow, we are tired and anxious. It's been really like wild to see the reactions to it and just like playing catch up with everything. But with the launch of the new map and with the account system, we're like, we've kind of caught up, so we're hoping that we can get more regular updates out and, you know, talk more. But it has been a really, really wild 2020 and 2021 at this rate.
Yeah,
Extremely.
I bet. I see Reash45 in chat says, thank you to the devs for this game. And I'm trying to keep up with you here, chat, but it's going so fast because there is so much hype. To see you, Victoria, and to have you answer questions here live on the stream is just super cool. And to get a preview of this new map, and I'm sorry, I just laughed at that murder ball animation that just happened right there. But yeah, the airship looks super cool. As you mentioned, it's coming in, 5 days now. If people did want to...
Ahora, mi pregunta, porque este juego no está o está en consola. Sí.
The great thing is, if you've already bought Among Us, whether that's on PC or mobile, it will automatically update. It's a free update. It will be there for you on March 31st. And then in 2021, it will be coming to Xbox consoles. I don't have a specific date for you yet, but that's the news.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm very excited about coming to console for sure.
And with the console, can you say whether there's
Va a tener cross-platform.
as well?
Yes, there will be cross-platform.
Así que puedes jugar en PC como en consola, como lo que quieras.
Oh, we love that. We absolutely love that.
Sí.
Victoria, I don't know where time
Among
went.
Us.
Things flew by so
El
fast.
que tú estás diciendo que está solamente exclusivo en Play es el otro, Fall Guys.
Or wants to know where to find you, do you
Este es otro.
have maybe a social platform that you prefer people
Este
to
es
reach
como
out
más... Tienes que matar a gente y que no se den
find
cuenta.
us on Twitter most of the time, so that's
Y el Fall Guys es como más gracioso, plataforma, y que la gente y después haces cosas para que la gente se caigan. Pero este es como más por decir adulto, en el tema de sangre y todo eso.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me, and thank you, chat.
Bye. Oh man,
that was so fun. I can't wait to jump into that new map, and I can't wait to see what the new tasks are and, you know, how to adjust your strategy accordingly. I saw the people in chat saying Trisha is sus. Everybody always thinks I'm the imposter, even when I'm not, and I don't know why. Apparently, I'm super sus all the time. But you know what? I'll take it, and then we'll adjust my strategy accordingly. And what kind of imposter are you, Story Mobe?
You know, I like to say I'm strategic, but sometimes when that imposter title flashes across the screen, it's like I kind of black out a little bit. Maybe I get a little hungry and crazy with power. And I'm just like, yes, the first person I see, oh yeah, that's who I'm going for. And all my little plan just goes out the window. I panic sometimes. It's fine.
I try my best to have a nice clean kill when you can like get somebody alone and then vent out of there real quick, but it doesn't always work that way. You know, sometimes you have a kill and then 3 other players walk in and I've watched it happen. It's the luck of the draw sometimes, but the more clean kills, the better. All right, folks, we have so much more show left today in the ID at Xbox Showcase. Death's Door devs are up next, and then more exclusive gameplay trailers, huzzah! And again, just a lot more content to show you, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Descansito de 3 minutos.
Muy bien.
¿Y cómo te está gustando por ahora?
Hombre, está bien lo que están enseñando. De todas maneras, lo que están enseñando la mayoría va todo al Game Pass, así que no está mal.
Sí, una buena porción de ello va a ir a Game Pass. No se sabe exactamente porque hay ciertos juegos como que lo tienen anunciado. Hay otros juegos que parece como que no lo tienen anunciado, pero he leído como que van a entrar en Game Pass. Entonces no sé exactamente qué es lo... Eso hasta que no salga no se sabrá.
Quizá vaya a estar repartido entre Game Pass, consola y...
Sé que estoy viendo que como ahora parece que la mayoría de los RPG que han mostrado, la mayoría de ellos sí van a entrar en Game Pass. El de pescar, el JRPG que han mostrado 2, sí. Los 2 van a entrar en Game Pass. Tienen muchas cosas que van a entrar en Game Pass.
Posiblemente es eso. Se repartan los juegos entre la consola y PC. Algunos irán a PC, otros irán a consola. Y otros irán tanto a un sitio como otro. Y también están enseñando juegos que van a entrar en juegos, ¿no? O sea, juegos que están de por sí, que son de Steam, porque el Last of Us iba a entrar en la consola y solo en esta consola.
Y también si precompras Rust, te mandan una llave alfa para que puedas entrar en los betas cerrados y todo.
Como compra anticipada.
Sí.
Hello, everyone. Welcome on back to ID at Xbox Showcase right here on Twitch Gaming. Coming up, we have very special interviews with the developers from Death's Door, interviewed by Stallion83 and Technique is going to be able to chat with the developers behind 12 minutes. Ooh, this is a good show.
But first,
Era de 4 a 8 de la noche.
Death's Door. So,
Es que
in Death's Door,
yo
you'll
no
be
sé,
playing
lo veo
as the
bastante
Crow,
largo para ser.
where reaping souls of the dead is all part of an
Pero también
on-stage
son
work.
más de
But
100
the
juegos
job
que
gets
muestran.
lively when your
Y están
assigned
hablando
soul
durante
is stolen
los
and you
juegos
must
y
track
todo,
down a
y
desperate thief to a
entrevistas.
realm untouched by death,
Así que es
where
posible. La
creatures
gente,
grow
por lo que yo he
far
leído,
past
hay
their
mucha gente que
purity
que les están gustando
with
los
greed and
juegos que
power.
han
Let's take a
mostrado,
look at this trailer now.
pero no le están gustando el diseño del evento. Porque las dos chicas lo están haciendo bien, no les voy a quitar nada. ¿Entiendes? Porque al final están haciendo una presentación bastante bien, pero es larga. Y no sé, no como que no tiene energía la presentación. ¿Y esto qué es? ¿De pingüino? Y un pingüino con una espada, loco. Qué cachondeo este juego. Espérate.
¿Casa recompensas?
¿Casa recompensa? No, me da que esto es como si fuera un Hitman. Pero versión pingüino. A ver esto. Esto está gracioso, tío. Es como que los pingüinos están en un mundo separado. Que yo no sé si es un pingüino o lo que es, pero...
No sé qué...
Mira, está guapo, ¿eh?
Está en la misma...
Es como... Es mucha estrategia en las peleas, por lo que estoy viendo.
A ver, que se me va esto. Está en la misma...
La
misma tesitura.
Death Door. A ver si lo que ponen, si en dónde va. ¿Ves? Por ejemplo, ese nada más que pusieron Xbox.
Now that was very
No
cool.
pone dónde sale ni nada.
With me today, Mark and Dave, and they are here to talk about a Death's Door. Thank you guys for joining me.
Es raro, pero...
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, yeah.
No problem.
Está
Y
guapo.
me
So I want to
gustó.
know about the
A mí me
Crow.
gusta el estilo de
Like,
juego.
Estos no
He's
son
awesome.
juegos
He's a badass Crow. I want to know the inspiration behind
de
the Crow.
plataformas o de...
Well, we thought that crows were kind of relevant to the
De
theme
todas
of
maneras,
death.
Vale,
They kind of
son cuervos.
They encapsulate
Sigue
the
siendo
themes of the
contenido
entire
maléfico,
game,
o
really.
sea,
They're it's kind of a dark,
Sí.
kind of mysterious bird, but they're also pretty cute and kind of funny. So we decided to make the character a crow, and as soon as we did that, the game started coming together.
Son cuervos. Yo pensé que era un
Really cool.
pingüino.
So what can you tell us about the story in Death's Door?
So it's
Sí,
set in
de
a
todas
world
maneras estos
where...
juegos suelen enganchar mucho.
Oh, got a bit of lag.
O sea,
Sorry.
hay muchos
It's set in a
forofos de este
world
tipo de
where
juegos.
Claro,
nothing
porque ten en
dies
cuenta que las
le gusta
peleas
anymore.
con los
So
jefes y
this
todos
group
tienen
of
su
crows
estrategia,
who work
no
in
es
this office that
solo
we saw in the
Sí.
trailer,
atacar y
they
ya
are
está,
in
sino
charge
tienes
of
que
reaping the
evitar,
souls
tienes
of
que
the
hacer
dead
ciertas
and
cosas,
maintaining some
aprender
kind
los
of order
movimientos
in
de
this
los
world.
jefes.
You obviously are one of the crows, and you get sent to a place where nothing has died for many centuries. So as you can imagine, things basically
Mira,
escalate
mira
from
cómo está
there.
peleando, tiene que evitar el láser y
Very
todo,
cool,
tiene
very
su
cool. So
estrategia.
is this a roguelike? To me it looks like a roguelike, or is it an RPG?
Es random.
What type of game are we looking at here?
Ver un pingüino hacer todo
It's not a roguelike, so it is just one storyline that's
Pero
single
bueno.
player, so you'll can play it from start to finish, and it's like an entire experience. It has some light RPG elements in it, so with the combat system you can upgrade your things like strength and speed
Vale.
and basic stats
Dice
like
que
that.
tiene
You can also
ciertas
find
partes
new
de
weapons along the
RPG,
way.
como que puedes
And out in the
mejorar,
world you'll have loads
vas
of
a
different
poder
secrets to
mejorar
discover as
tu
well, so it's not just
fuerza,
like 100% the game, there's like a
agilidad y
lot
todas esas
of
cosas
juicy
así.
secrets in the world for them to try and find.
Sí, parece.
A mí
Speaking
lo
of
que me
like
gusta
100%,
también es el
what are the
estilo,
achievements
blanco y
looking like
negro,
in this
pero
game?
después te
I have to
muestra
ask you that
ciertos
question.
colores.
It's mandatory.
Nice.
Como que, pero los colores
Well,
como
yeah,
que
that's part
resaltan
of it,
más.
because we had so much fun making this game with so many secrets and so much like little touches and different things you could do. We had a lot of fun coming up with the achievements as well. Probably, I think one of the most fun ones at the very start of the game, you can actually pick up an abandoned umbrella in this office where all the crows work, and you'll get an achievement for using that for every battle in the game. It's basically a very weak weapon that is half as powerful as any other weapon in the game. So
Parece que también tienen muchas armas en el juego.
So that might be the most challenging achievement, that one right there.
May well be, yeah. I haven't even attempted it myself, so I can't even comment on that.
Oh, wow. So with a game called Death's Door, are players going to die a lot in this game?
There'll certainly be a few deaths to have to go through, yeah.
So
it's
the kind of game where you...
I wouldn't say it's hard as nails. Like, if anyone's played our previous game, Titan Souls, that would be described as probably hard as nails. But this is a bit more forgiving, a bit more accessible. But we still think it will present a good challenge for anyone who was a fan of the old game.
Yeah, I think this one is certainly a very intense action game, and it's definitely going to challenge you. But one thing we wanted to do this time around was create something where if you are hitting a wall with like a really ridiculously hard boss, you don't just have to keep trying over and over again. You will have options
Por eso digo que
different things you can do.
El evento es largo, porque al final están mostrando más de 100 juegos.
Enhance your playstyle, or you might not want to go and search the world for various secrets.
Yo diría hasta
so there's alternate weapons that you might feel more comfortable with.
Mostrar más de 100 juegos y que el evento no sea largo, porque tendrías que porque literalmente sería desde el principio que juego así todo el tiempo, ¿entiendes? Y ellos lo que quieren es pues también darle oportunidad a que los estudios y los que crearon los juegos pues que hablen un poco también. El problema es que hay mucha gente que le da absolutamente igual lo que los developers piensan.
Maybe a little bit of Hotline Miami. It's kind of like fast paced. You have to play quite reactively to your surroundings. Like things can change a lot. You just have to be on your toes all the time.
And we were also really careful to make sure that all of the moveset that you have is very fast, very fluid, very responsive. So every action you perform, it'll be executed within very few frames of you pressing the button. So you have that kind of nice, rapid fluidity that gives you what you need to overcome any kind of challenge.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
Yeah, you want to take the same kind of reactive.
Incredible. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Esta parte pues no te digo, no está mal. Por ejemplo, ese jefe me gusta como lo está, como que te quita los cuadrados de que están debajo y todo eso.
So what about replayability? How
Y
much
le da
replayability
ese toque de dificultad.
I think like the first thing I would recommend doing when they're starting, when they finish the game, then the first thing I would suggest is to continue that save, because we actually let you carry on afterwards, and there's loads of secrets to uncover in the world, loads of different things to do. Like we were saying before, it's a really fun one to 100%. And then beyond that, then because we've got this kind of light RPG system, you can go for a different build if you wanted to replay it. And it does change quite a lot, so you can focus on something that's far more speed and magic based, or something that's more down to brute strength and range and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think that would be the best way to enjoy its replayability.
So how many bosses are we looking at? We're looking at, like, what is this right here on screen right now? Is that a castle boss? It looks really awesome.
Yeah, that's technically a mini boss, actually. I mean, mini is probably not the right word for it, but
supuestamente ese jefe es
there's a few. There's a
jefe mini, que no es el final.
As you progress through, you kind of the core bosses have their own storylines that develop, and you kind of interact with them a few times while you're on your journey. So by the time you get to them, you maybe know a bit of their backstory, and you're going through their area of the world, which is kind of they've left their mark on the world.
Yeah, we really want to show how these bosses have adapted to the strange situation that's going on in this world, and how they've become these like overly powerful beings, and like Mark was saying, how they've affected the world around them. So there's a lot of kind of, each chapter of the game has a bit of build up, learning about this boss, potentially even meeting them, and then when you do get to the bosses, it's like a culmination of that chapter, and our opportunity to up everything to 11 basically.
Cool. So, when can players get their hands on this game? When is this coming out?
We're actually pretty far along with it. We're almost content complete. We're just polishing and we're fixing bugs.
El juego lo tiene casi terminado.
So we're hoping to launch this summer.
Va a salir este verano.
That sounds great. What about like DLC? You guys got anything planned for DLC down the line?
We're focused on
right
making
now.
sure
Just,
that...
¿En Game Pass o esto?
Sorry, yeah, we're
Es que no lo
focusing on
pusieron,
making
eso
sure
me imagino que
the core experience
lo
is
mostrarán,
full, satisfying thing
o lo
where,
anunciarán
if
después.
you want to explore when you're playing the game, you know that that world is entirely realized. There's nothing we're waiting to add later.
Pero no sé exactamente si es un
we're
juego
focusing
que
on
saldrá
the core
directamente o no.
narrative experience for now, and then maybe we'll consider other things after.
So if fans want to follow, more information about this game, where can they find the updates for this?
They should follow us on Twitter @AcidNerve, and we'll be sure to keep everyone updated.
So you're just two guys, right? Two guys make this game. Is that correct?
We handle quite a lot between us, but we also have an art team. So we have this awesome team of a couple of concept artists and a 3D modeler who work with us as well. So it's them who created all of the assets that we need to bring our ideas to life. But yeah, we wear quite a lot of hats between the two of us as well. It's quite a good collaborative project where everyone has a lot of creative input.
Okay, that's awesome. So the noir world, when the trailer starts out, are we gonna be in the game in that, or was that just for the trailer? Is that like the hub or something?
Yeah, that acts as a hub world. So as you progress through the game, which is one like consistent open world to explore, you'll find these like keyholes which you can unlock, and they kind of introduce shortcuts back into this hub world. So the actual main world is like this color, overgrown, like interesting place. Then there's the office where the Reapers work, which is kind of a noir, it's kind of depressing, bureaucratic environment.
Yeah, in the trailer I saw like tombs floating. What's in the tombs?
They were probably the doors. So
the doors. Was it a bunch of doors?
The place that the crows work, it's called the Hall of Doors. So basically, the way that the crows do their job of reaping souls, they have these doors which can lead them to any place. So that's how it functions as a hub. You can use the doors to travel via shortcuts to back anywhere else in the world where you were before.
Okay, well, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it, and we're kicking it back. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks very much for having us.
Thanks.
Oh, Death's Door. Oh, these look good. Now, I do want to say first, shout out to all of the developers, but especially these smaller studios. My goodness. I mean, they were even saying between the two of them how many different hats and how many different roles and responsibilities they have to create these amazing games. So shout out to all of you, because, oh my gosh, I can only imagine how hard of a job that is.
So much. Yeah, just a team of two. Way to go, Mark and David. Love to see it. And chat was really loving this one. I was trying to pull comments out as we go. I saw Monkey Dwalis is for real, instant buy. I am Orvana's, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, said, devs made a really great game. Love the dark mood, GG, and tons of love in chat for the black and white atmosphere when we saw kind of the black and white atmospheric scenes. And I definitely want to know more about this world that they're fleshing out. I think it really, really looks cool. I even saw some people in chat saying potential future game of the year. So definitely loving that. Again, way to go, team of two, Mark and David.
Yes, for sure. Up next, everyone. Oh, I'm excited about this. Have you ever wondered what it would be like battling dinosaurs with guns? Or are you hoping to learn what kind of weapons you'll get to use in Stalker 2? Our next batch of trailers will provide many exciting updates to games we're all dying to play. I see you guys in the chat moving. Let's take a look at some more new gameplay trailers. Here we go.
Locked and loaded.
Vale, este es el Extinction. Second Extinction, creo que es.
Where the fun begins. Fences up.
Ahí está. El Second Extinction el 28
¿Ya lo enseñaron
de abril.
ya?
28 de abril en Game Pass.
Con Game Preview. Eso es igual que el Grounded.
El Ground, sí.
¿Qué otra cosa mostraron? ¿Solo ese?
No, va a estar empezando ahora.
Vale.
Y nada, este es uno de los indies más que van a enseñar. Pero tiene...
What was the difference between the people on the inside or the outside? Neither of them gave a damn about the beings that power.
Este es el típico juego ese como el Halo Wars, que tienes que crear tus soldados y todo eso y después...
Ir invadiendo zonas y...
Pero es turno por turno.
Sí,
No es como...
Sí, es por turno.
Es una mezcla entre varios juegos, parece.
No sé, este juego no me...
Nah,
no me convence a mí,
A mí no me atrae.
Este sí que no
Todavía no, ni he probado el Halo Wars ni nada porque no es... No sé,
No tiene nada que ver el Halo Wars con ese.
Ya, pero que digo, que no son juegos que me cuesta jugar. Así que si me cuestan jugar de por sí, cuando son juegos que son realmente buenos, pues ese no lo tocaré.
A ver qué locura es
Un juego de plataforma. Pero un coche,
Sí.
en vez de una persona, es un coche.
Es un coche, mira, aquí es otra cosa. ¿Será que...? Oh, no sé. Ah, es como un Transformer o algo, ¿no? Parece.
Ese de sí, tío. No es mi tipo de juego.
No,
No me gusta.
Igual tiene...
Es súper... Esto me suena como a un juego que cuando estaba la Nintendo original, ¿entiendes? Es súper...
Sí,
tiene su...
de la Mega Drive, del...
Súper así.
De la Sega, estos juegos todavía tienen gente que juega. Mira el Stalker.
23rd of March
Sí.
marked the anniversary of the first game in the series, Stalker: Shadow of Chernobyl. Celebrating the date, last year we released the first in-engine screenshot of Stalker 2, followed by the first trailer and the gameplay teaser. That was our way to celebrate 25 years of making games here at GC Game World. This year, we have an anniversary gift for our fans as well. It's an update on Stalker 2. It's not as big as a new trailer just yet, but we hope you will enjoy it. Let's start with something familiar, yet completely renewed. And here is the first look at the updated costumes. The zone is a dangerous place, so it's filled with different factions. The Freedom and the Duty are two iconic opposing forces. The first ones see the zone as a free, ever-growing state, while the second ones would eagerly sacrifice their lives to prevent its spreading.
Este juego va a ser solo para la nueva generación.
As you may have guessed,
Sí,
you will see them in the sequel.
Es PC y nueva generación.
The recognizable design for each faction has been enriched with details. If you look closely, you can see scuffs, scratches, and sticking out threads. Please keep in mind
Gráficamente se ve bestial.
the time has passed and the new forces emerged in the zone. You can expect to see more
A ver si
factions
enseñan
in
algo del
Stalker
juego,
2.
porque a ver, aquí sí. Aquí
Let's
están
move on.
mostrando el...
The reception of Stalker 2 has been extremely positive so far. And
Es que
we're truly
el
grateful for that.
original fue un
Thank you
juegazo
for your
que
passion and your interest.
se jugó por muchísimo tiempo y creo que hasta todavía tiene seguidores que lo
Without
juegan.
the guns, right?
Todavía sí.
Here are a couple of guns you will see in the game. The arsenal will include more than 30 different weapons. Of course, there will be lots of modifications for each gun.
buena pinta las armas, ¿no? Con esa...
Y dice que son 30 armas y que vas a poder tener muchísimas modificaciones en las armas. Así que a saber qué puedes hacer con las armas y todo. Uf.
El MP5, ¿no?
Puede ser MP5 o MP7. Y esa parece una Druganov.
Sí, tiene pinta.
Esa es un arma hecha.
Asbal, creo que es la Asbal. O parecida a la Asbal. No sé qué nombre tendrá ahí. Esta es la ACR, tiene pinta de la ACR.
Pero que bien se ven las armas, tío.
Sí. A ver, también esto lo han hecho para enseñarlo aquí. A lo mejor tiene un punto de mejora, ¿sabes?
Sí, gráficamente sí, no creo que el juego llegue a este nivel. A ver, me gustaría, pero...
Posiblemente, si va para nueva generación, debería, como mínimo, alcanzar ese punto. Esta es una mejorada de la misma arma. Ah, mira, aquí te está diciendo la misma arma que es lo que le
Sí, todo lo que puedes modificar es lo que te...
Finally, let's finish with something completely unexpected. We work a lot to fill the world with a decent amount of memorable details, and sometimes it takes us to completely unexpected grounds. Can you see this guy? Quite a charmer, if you ask me. But let's take a closer look at his teeth. And the tooth is gone.
Hostia, que le puedes modificar eso tú.
Or replaced with a dental crown.
Sí, dientes de metal y todo.
All made with our custom teeth tool, one of the many plugins we use in the development process for specific changes like that.
Ellos lo están haciendo desde su programa, o sea,
ensure each character looks completely
unique. Desde el Unreal.
Literally every human in Stalker 2 has one of a kind smile, or green, I suppose.
El editor de juego.
And that covers up our news for today. Please subscribe to our official social channels to receive up-to-date info about the game or ask any questions. We would be pleased to share more about Stalker 2, including gameplay demonstration, later this year. Until then,
lo más seguro que cuando vayan a tener el evento de E3, que será para allá para junio, seguro que van a poner algo.
My gosh, I mean, there was so much hype in the chat for Stalker 2. I mean, wow, I'm blown away. For those to be a work in progress, they were so detailed. My gosh. What did you think about that, Trisha?
Yeah, I mean, hyper-realism. So thank you, Zach, for that update on Stalker 2. I saw a lot of support in chat for the dev team. A lot of love, like you said, Brianna, for this game. The updated costumes look super realistic and fantastic. We got an in-depth look at some of those weapons. And that tooth customization. Oh. Super, super realistic and definitely unexpected for me. I saw 667 Delos in chat says these graphics are so dope. WTF sexy headphones, which I love. Your name, your Twitch name says absolutely cannot wait to play this game. Yet I hope that the devs take all the time they need to make it right. So absolutely. I saw a couple people in chat saying like, take your time. Let's make this the best game ever. And yeah, it was cool that Zach was able to stop by and show us that update of what they have so far for Stalker 2.
Absolutely. And I love what you said too. I feel like it is so important to give developers the time that they need to push these games out and allow them to do them properly. I know there's so much hype behind so many different games, but developers are people too. They need some time. They need to take the rest that they need. Give them some time. And don't worry, you guys will be happy. Just a little bit of patience.
I'm always a fan. I will be patient and I will wait for the game to be awesome. So again, thank you, Zach, for that update. Up next, streamer Technique will sit down with director Luis Antonio about his new game, 12 Minutes, an interactive thriller about a man trapped in a time loop. Let's take a look at that trailer now.
All right, close your eyes.
A ver qué enseñan aquí ahora.
Look at its contours, its curves. Now I want you to imagine it changing, moving backward, returning to its bud. Think of that bud, unopened. Look at it as a whole, then silently repeat these phrases. May you be free from suffering. May you be free from fear. May you know peace and joy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And imagine being stuck in a thriller-themed 12-minute time loop over and over again to figure out what's going on in your life. Well, today I have the pleasure to bring in Luis, the director of 12 Minutes, joining me here as Technique, as you guys know. Luis, I am... this game, when I first saw it at E3, I was just like, what is this and what's happening? Because it reminded me of an old movie called Butterfly Effect a long time ago. I remember seeing it when I was younger, and it blew my mind. Can you introduce yourself and tell the chat a little bit about yourself and about this game, 12 Minutes?
Hey, Technique. Yeah, definitely. So 12 Minutes is it's an interactive thriller about a man trapped in a time loop. The whole game happens inside an apartment. You come home from work, you're having an evening with your wife, then this guy shows up. He accuses your wife of murder, and then he attacks you, you pass out, and then you go back to the start of the evening. And then you have to use the knowledge that you accumulate every loop to try to change the outcome and hopefully break the loop. It all happens inside the apartment. It's all in real time, and the game doesn't really tell you what to do, right? So it's kind of up to you to decide what to do based on what you experience.
I love that. It seems there's so many setups for failures and maybe one success. But before we get into all the complications of the game, we have to know, and I'm pretty sure you got hit with this question, when is the game going to be ready? Because we are ready to get our hands on this and experience 12 minutes and find out how to overcome this loop.
So the game, we're at the final stage, like final stages. We're doing QA, polishing, a lot of playtesting, making sure that the game is really smooth, finalizing the music. It's gonna come out soon, very, very soon. Definitely this year. The exact date we don't know yet, but once we do, we're gonna announce it, and it's happening. It's definitely happening.
We believe you. I can see the progress over the years for sure. But we can't talk about the game without going into a little bit more detail about this is a cinematic thriller, so to speak, and it's very interactive. So the most important key components of this is your cast and the voiceovers and the narrator. Could you go in a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, so the whole experience, because the game never really tells you what you should be doing, it's a bit about how you interpret what's happening. And so it's a very personal, intimate environment where it's you with these two other characters. And yeah, so the voice acting is there to really help. Like you gotta connect with these characters and care about what's happening in order to be able to follow the story and see where it leads.
That's a very, very important factor, is connecting with the characters and finding some kind of relatability to feel the emotion that your main character feels, or main characters, I should say. And talking about relatability, everything happens into an apartment, so the control aspect of this game has to be very important. So what kind of controls can we look forward to, the accessibility of controls in the system?
So for 12 minutes, I wanted to... it's kind of a point-and-click game, but a bit cleaner than the old ones where you never quite know what's going to happen. You have objects in the apartment, like on the trailer you can see picked up a knife, there could be a mug, there's the plates. So anything you can
Este es el de 12 minutos. Vale, sí, 12 minutes.
And then there's things you can open the door, close the door. And it might seem that it's not that many.
No, el juego va basado en que estás en tu apartamento con tu mujer y tienes que buscar la manera de evitar de que la persona que entra a asesinarlos a ustedes asesine a alguien. Entonces tienes que seguir repitiendo. Sí, tienes que seguir evitándolo para que no pase. Y el problema es que encima el tío parece como que sabe que está reviviendo el mismo momento.
Her husband that comes home to see his wife, and they're going to have a nice dinner, and somebody's going to come by at some point and accuse her of murder. Is there anything else you could tell us about that? Like, I mean, does the husband not know about the murder? Like, what's going on? Are both shocked? I wouldn't even imagine
yeah,
that.
I don't want to say much because it's right. Everything you learn will affect how you deal with the situation. So there's not much that can be shared. Yeah, that's a tricky question. There's really not much I can tell about the story.
Okay.
Like I want players really to go in and right, and have a blank slate in how they're going to interpret the situation. But it's pretty
So have an
intense.
open mind, pretty much, is how you need to play this game, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, like the situations that you're going to go through, none of them, there's no
Me da
there's no right or
que,
wrong, right? For
que
example, let's say the cop
de
comes
algún
in
estudio
and he
español.
starts attacking you, right? You could try to fight or
Sí,
not
tiene
fight.
pinta
But
de...
each option that you choose will branch out in a different direction. So you're always
Tiene nombre
learning,
español este hombre,
and you
pero
will
no
use
sé
that
si es
knowledge, and the
español.
character also learns everything that you've done, and you're gonna try to use that in order to try to change the outcome. So having a blank slate is pretty good for the player, I think.
Absolutely. A lot of the games like this do have a lot of mind tricks involved. But speaking of gameplay and keeping your mind open, how the length of the game, I'm pretty sure people are going to be like, okay, I understand this game is called 12 minutes. Is the game actually 12 minutes? Can you expand on the length of the game and give us a little insight on that?
Definitely. So the loop lasts 12 minutes. But for example, when the cop comes in, it's about 3 minutes into the loop. So if this was Groundhog Day, the film is like Bill Murray was dying at breakfast. So once you actually manage to survive the cop, the loop still continues. From playtesting, I thought the game would last about 8 hours, but so far we're rounding up to 15 to 18 hours.
Yeah.
So it goes pretty deep. Until you reach what I would call a...
Que dice que supuestamente el looping,
you're getting on that 20
el looping del juego supuestamente te dura como 12 minutos, pero es que como cada cosa, si tú sobrepasas una parte, pues te salta a otra fase. Y como que va saltando así, y dice que han llegado a tener hasta 18 horas de juego.
So, yeah, I think once you play through, you're gonna have your own experience. I think a lot of it will be talking with your friends and
No es una... sí.
O sea, cada parte de lo que tú
how they dealt with the situation, whatever branches they went through.
una escena,
Sí.
¿o no?
But yeah, this is
12
I will-
minutos.
Sí. Vale, ya volvió.
Está esto...
There is no like overall huge arcing story that you have to sit and wait a couple hours before you get to the gameplay. I really expect that, and I'm gonna say kudos to you because, correct me if I'm wrong, you were working on this alone at some point for a good part of it.
Yeah, I was developing this alone for like 2-3 years, and then I partnered with Annapurna Interactive, and that's when we kind of managed to bring the voice cast in and really take this to an all new level.
Wow, that's the lighting, the atmosphere. You really hit on that thriller. It seems like it starts off all peaceful and then things get chaotic and out of nowhere. All the rooms in the apartment Well, first of all the rooms in the apartment itself, I'm thinking you start on an elevator, or maybe you like come into a hallway. Are the rooms available to go into, or is it only your apartment? And if it's in your apartment, can you go into every room and interact with most things in your apartment?
Yeah, so the whole game, what you see the moment the game starts will be what you're gonna have when the game ends. Nothing else will change apart from your knowledge of everything that's happening in there. Yeah, you can go to all rooms, you can interact with everything, and yeah, if you've played before and you start again, you'll have a lot more knowledge on how to deal with the situation and handle things differently. And I would say also like
El juego tiene que ver mucho con memoria. En el sentido, tienes que acordarte dónde están las cosas y todo esto para poder sobrepasar los looping.
What was going to happen, but by compressing the experience to this level, right? If I lock the door, I know that maybe the cop won't be able to get in, or maybe he'll do something else. And in a minute, you're back at the start, and you can very quickly see the outcome of your actions, and makes it pretty intense too.
Seems like a lot of thought process been put into the game, and I really like that feature as well, of not giving us too big of a loop so we can just really hone in, because a lot of games, especially RPGs, give you so much information in the beginning, reading all this stuff, and you tend to forget the core product of the game itself. So having us in that loop is a very, very good idea. Are there multiple endings? I'm not asking for details. I just want to know, you could solve a loop one way, but is there multiple ways to solve it?
So when I started to work on this game, right, that question kept coming up. I kept asking myself, how do you end the story that keeps repeating itself? So the answer is there is what you can call a conclusion, but it doesn't match what you would expect out of a linear experience, right? When you see a movie, you get to the end, you get the credits, but this is interactive and you can participate. So what we call an ending is slightly different from what usually movies do. So you will reach a satisfactory conclusion, I think. What that is and how that is, it's kind of different from people usually expect in games.
That's amazing. Lewis, I have to ask, this concept is something that we don't see often in video games. Were there any inspiration that led to creating this game? You said about 2 to 3 years ago you started it. Did you have any kind of inspiration behind it that could lead into maybe even more titles like this?
So early on, there were some pillars that I wanted to work on. So I've been working in games for many years. I've been at Rockstar, Ubisoft, worked on The Witness with Jonathan Blow, and always as an artist. I was always on the artist side of things. And this idea of repeating the same amount of time over and over, which games do naturally, what if that repetition was actually something you were aware of, right? Rather than Tomb Raider, you die, you reset, and you're doing the same thing, but no one acknowledges what's happening. So along with this, I wanted also to kind of take things from the movie industry, like from the cinematic side of things. Like for example, like Hitchcock, Rear Window, the way you spend the whole movie sitting in the balcony and interpreting what's happening. Or like in Memento, where Nolan changed the order of the scene so that the player feels what the character is going through, right? And as I started to learn to program and make the game, I realized that we do have these tools as a game designers, and we can bring them in, how you interact with the environment, how much information we give you, how the world reacts to you. So it was slowly, each element I would bring in, I would see, is this element in the same language and in the same theme and message I'm trying to convey? If yes, it goes in. If not, I would take it out. And slowly these things start to grow into 12 minutes.
Wow, so that's really cool. We really don't, in chat, I just want you to understand, we really don't get to hear this side of development, right? We get to see the game and we're like, oh, this is cool, this looks beautiful, and this, that, and the other. But it seems like, Lewis, you have almost like a movie direction or cinematic background, and be able to lay out a game, and you were just doing art side of stuff. I'm pretty sure you took a lot of those tools that you got from all those other developers and brought it into making your own. Do you see yourself making more titles with more cinematic approach? Because I think this is a wonderful avenue that a lot of games typically just throw for cutscenes and not really give us the player experience in.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it I think it's cinematic, but I would call it I think it's like the history of games has this background of, you have levels, you have objectives, you have coins and goals. I'm like, what if we bring some aspects of it but not others? And I think for this specific experience, I think being cinematic and bring a lot of cues, from films about the way the actors move, the way they talk to each other, the tempo, and everything makes sense. And I would like to keep doing that for sure. But if the next titles would be similar, I don't know. But I think this idea of really paying attention to the elements we bring in, like, for example, the top-down. The main reason for being top-down is so that you can easily navigate in the environment, right? If you bring first-person, suddenly 80% of the people cannot play the game because they don't know how to control the character. But I realized, look, if you just click where you go, and then when you go into an object like the fridge, it goes into first person and out, you keep having all the verbs you would have in other video games, but the simplicity is there. So someone who doesn't play video games can just jump in, as long as you know how to click where you want to go to, it just works. And there's no compromise in the design complexity.
I could pick your brain all day. You just seem to have an answer for everything. I love it. Wow, that is just amazing. So the funny thing is, I love how you chose. I was thinking about the accessibility and what you were saying, because I was like, yeah, us video gamers are going to be, a lot of people are going to just be like, why point and click, where we can experience this a little bit more in depth. But I also love the fact that you went point and click for the simple fact of you get to see the environment that you're in, and it kind of builds a kind of tenseness to it as well. Like when you hit your first loop or your second loop, you know this guy is coming. What do you do? Where do you go? And being in first person, you kind of panic and you lose a lot of that atmosphere effect. Being able to go into rooms, lock doors, and pick apart certain mental puzzles, I should say, to fix it. Now, I really want to know about, before we let you go today, I really want to know about the characters, because they're the most important key components of this game right now, especially the main character that you play. Does his attitude change through the loops, or do you kind of have like a more of a monotone feel? Does he start to realize that he's in a loop and he's like, oh my God, and gets frantic? Or the choices that you make conversation wise get a little bit more tense or soothing?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So early on, I kept asking myself, how am I going to convey the progress of the character if everything is resetting, right? I cannot change his clothes, I cannot change, nothing can change, everything goes back to the start, but his knowledge stays. So the idea is that every time that you loop, hopefully he will do this journey with you. We try to read the frustrations you're going through, and he will react to those frustrations, and everything that you make him do, he's going to be aware. So for example, when you go talk with the wife, everything you know is what you will, every loop you do, everything you do, he will know it and be able to talk and execute on in the next loop. Or if you make him do things that he doesn't feel very comfortable, the more he makes them, the more comfortable he will be making them. So
no, ya llevan 3 horas también, ten en cuenta.
See that evolution, the way he talks with the wife, like the first time
está llegando casi ya a la meta
by
final.
loop 50, he's like, hey, how are you? What's your day? No. So you see that evolution.
Put that realism in it.
Yeah. And something else we realize is by being
No han enseñado tampoco Hades, ¿no?
And by not seeing the faces. First, we don't go into this technical challenge of rendering faces, but suddenly the body movement and the voice acting, they elevate the experience, because you're...
Sí, que ese escuché que iba a tener pronto el game preview es.
Really helps keep this intensity.
I love it. The animation is going to be a key part. If everyone in chat wants more 12 minutes, I could talk to him all day. But unfortunately, I'm going to take
no han mostrado ni el de la nieve, no han mostrado los otros que ponían ahí, el Gunk tampoco. El Gunk a mí sí que me está llamando un montón la atención. Pero me da que ese juego va a ser para la nueva generación solo.
That's the website. There's a development blog that I've been writing for like 5 years now. You can,
porque es un juego que creo que va a empujar mucho.
That's what I'm going to announce when we're at a release date, and I'm always posting stuff. You can follow the game on Twitter at 12 Minutes Game, or follow me at Faca Electrica also on Twitter. But just type 12 Minutes Game on Google and you get all these links.
Boom, 12 minutes. Thank you so very much, Lewis, for joining us. In chat, I would love to stay with you, but I got to go and send it back to Story Mode Bay and Trisha. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Take my money.
Thank you, Technique and Lewis. I don't know about you, Brianna, but 12 minutes has been on my radar for a while now. I want to say it was maybe a couple E3s ago, where maybe they first kind of showed us a look at it, but having that really like top-down, very personal and intimate viewpoint on it, plus the intensity of the emotions of what's going on in the loop, I just think it's a super, super cool concept. Has this been on your radar too?
Yes, and it looks amazing. This is exactly the type of game that I have been waiting for. I definitely love to see so much hype coming in from the chat, especially because the concept of the game is so brand new and different. Normally, I feel like people would be a little bit apprehensive, like a top-down view the entire game. I don't know, but there was so much hype, and I understand completely. Like I said, take my money, take my credit card right now. Like, I am buying it day one, no questions asked.
Oh yeah, a lot of people in chat saying buying day one. I saw that Silky C said, I want to play this game so bad, it looks so good, and the concept is so fascinating. Amias94 said, concept sounds amazing, well done guys. And Stud93 said, the art design is so beautiful and clean. So a lot to love with 12 minutes. But we have so many other things still to cover. Next up, we have another exciting game from Annapurna Interactive to announce. Last Stop. But rather than show you a quick trailer, the team at Annapurna Interactive were nice enough to send along an exclusive gameplay demo. So after that, we will then meet the creators of the game, Astra Ascending. So right now, let's take a look.
Trailer finales pone, ¿será que ya los ponen ya todos?
Hello and welcome to Last Stop, a new game from Variable State and Annapurna Interactive. Last Stop is a story-driven adventure game where you navigate through 3 entangled stories that intertwine into one wild sci-fi adventure full of mystery, wonder, and danger. Today we're going to show you how this game works by playing a quick sequence from one of these stories. In this tale, 2 neighbours, John and Jack, have accidentally swapped bodies in a freak accident. They must now help each other blend in as they try and find a way to get back to their old bodies and way of life. Let's take a look at how you could play this out.
So where do you work?
Sí.
Superfab. It's not far from your office, actually.
Sí, es un poco...
And people pay you to do this? Yeah. Some people say game makers are the new rock stars.
Dad, can you put me in one of Jack's video games?
I struggle enough with the oven timer. I don't think this is going to work. Don't sweat it. I'll walk you through it. Think of me as a master puppeteer and you my obedient marionette.
Don't forget, I need to be taken to school at some point.
Yeah. Now, first you need to find my desk. You can't miss it. It's the one with the robot doing the sick dab. Sneak past Sonia, the receptionist. Avoid any awkward questions. She's a bit dippy, so you shouldn't have any problems there. She didn't sound that dippy on the phone.
You're mean, Jack.
¿En serio?
Hello, stranger.
Eso para pasar a la chica.
You look well rested.
Slept the whole weekend. Anyway, I should probably just get going.
Someone's in a hurry.
Get in there, Jack, my son. Good morning!
Derek's in a good mood.
Who the hell was that?
What? Jack, you sure you're not still feeling ill?
He's my boss?
Yeah.
So, what do I do when I get there? it's Monday. That means sprint planning. You're going to coordinate with your team on their tasks for the week.
Dad's no good with stuff like that.
Molly's right. I don't think anyone would follow me into battle.
It's simple, trust me. Jonah's working on modelling the last of the cream cakes for Mrs. Clapton's tea shop. Letitia's putting the finishing touches to the AI for the retirement home scene with the shell-shock veteran. And Tobias is writing up the design for the interactive funeral procession. And Maya is midway through implementing Rumble support.
Jonah cakes, Letitia's shell shock, Tobias funerals, Maya Rumble.
See? You're a natural.
Hello. Good weekends, everyone? Get up to anything interesting? No. Okay, let's see. So I'm supposed to go around everyone and check what you're all working on. So, Jonah. You are modelling cream cakes, aren't you? I'll take the silence as an agreement. Okay, Letitia. You're doing something with AI? No, IA. For retirement homes. Yeah, sounds right. Okay, Tobias.
Hey.
Are you rumbling? Actually, I'm not sure that's right.
¿El qué?
And finally...
Como lo que dice el tío en el juego.
Are you doing the IA? The AI?
Todo el mundo quejándose en el chat del Twitch que están haciendo esto como para perder tiempo.
Sí, tiene pinta porque, a ver, el juego...
A ver, están mostrando el demo, pero yo que sé, para mostrar un demo podían haber mostrado un demo de un juego más...
Sí. Es que
más llamativo.
Es que el problema no, y el problema es que es lento. Tiene mucho... Esto no le gusta mucho a la gente, que el juego tenga mucho diálogo.
Es que es verdad.
Maybe I'll just leave you with the advice that my dad gave to me on my 18th birthday. Keep your head down. Don't take unnecessary risks. Stay out of debt.
El Omno ya lo habían anunciado.
And that's just a quick look at Last Stop. Be sure to check out more updates soon.
El Omno.
To console and PC this year.
Creo que sí, que fue uno de los que dijeron al principio. Pero ese juego era un poco raro.
Sí.
Ahora vamos a... vale. Después de esto es cuando van a mostrar los últimos...
Sí.
Este es famoso, este ha trabajado en la serie Final Fantasy.
Estos son, exacto.
Y este también, él ha hecho la música de Final Fantasy.
スクエア社のファイナルファンタジー12でしょうかね。アストリア・アセンディングの中では私は、世界観の設定とあとプロットストーリーと細々としたセリフまでやってます。はい。ミュージックディレクターだと思います。はい。もちろん作曲もしています。はい。ストーリー上っていうか設定上この星に住んでる人たちは調和の実っていうのを食べてて、ある意味その本能的な部分は抑えちゃってるんですよね。鳥はあんまり高く飛べなくなっちゃったし、猛獣系のやつらはちょっと筋力が落ちたりしてるんで、それでなんとか調和を保ってるんですけども、テーマ的にはそのあたりですかね。もう我々にとっての調和の実っていうのは何だろうみたいな。お話はそうですね、かなりシビアに展開していきますね。なんでその人の大義とは何なんだろうとか、その何かを守りたかったりして、そういうのってその人間が動くその根本的な原動力だと思うんですけど、その結果どういうことが起こっていくのかとか、そうですね、そういうことを結構突きつけられる感じのゲームだと思います。主人公たちはデミゴットっていう、その調和を守るための戦隊みたいな感じなんですよね。国民の中から、割とランダムに選ばれて3年間の任期を務め上げるみたいな。
ディレクターのジュリアンさんからも言われていたんですけど、とにかくそういうその人間が
Esto,
嫌いに
esto
な
lo
るよ
tenían que
う
haber
な作品はし
hecho
ないでほしい。
en,
人間
en
のそ
dos
の
eventos
可能
distintos
性を
o
ちゃん
algo
と
así.
信じられるものにしてほしいっていうふうに言われていて、まあそれは
No sé si puede.
多分一
Son
番
muchos.
大きな
No del
テー
tirón,
マ
tío.
なんじゃないで
No
す
sé,
かね。
lo veo muy...
Eso es mucho, porque tú ten en cuenta que a lo mejor también le están pagando a Twitch
それぞれまあ幸せだったり
para
いろんな問
poner
題を
esto
抱えてたりする普
en
通の
Twitch.
人たちなので、
Entonces, pagarle 2 veces, no sé, y tampoco a lo mejor
なんで仕事
ellos
として
querían dividir
平和を守るっていう
el evento
そ
en
の
dos
葛
así.
藤とか喜び
Si
と
no,
かを
Sí,
描こう
a
と
ver,
します。
posiblemente no
先ほ
interese.
ど少し触れました
No
が、
hubiera
その
interesado.
旋律とかモチーフとかを
Pero...
ゲームの中のその音の機能としても使ってるんですね。でも
encima ponen a esta gente hablando al final que te hablan súper bajo y te da ganas de dormir.
音楽としてもうまく機能するし、サウンドトラックとしても機能するし、あとはそういう記号としても
Han habido juegos al principio que podían haber estado al final y explicándolo un poco
まあ
mejor.
そこはうまくいっていいですね。僕自身はその
¿sabes?
まあやっぱりゲームが大好きでこの業界に入ってきてるので、
De todas maneras, es
ゲ
lo que
ー
estábamos
ムに
diciendo
対
al
して
principio.
その
Le están
困って
dando
ほ
una
しいみたい
oportunidad
な、
a toda esta gente.
それと
¿sabes?
かあとは
Tampoco...
昔自分がその遊んでて楽しかった
Claro, en esa parte, mira, seguro que esta gente también, muchos de ellos están agradecidos por
いいな
eso.
と思うんですけど、そういうものがもっともっとこうもっと素晴らしくこう表現されていていいなっていうか、その世界に入れるといいなっていうふうなのを思っていて、それに近づけるためにずっと音を作ってるんだと思うんですよね。なのでこのゲームはそういった意味で、まあうまくそれが効いてるといいんですけどね。まあその辺はユーザーさんの反応を見て、まあ、評価が出されるんじゃないでしょうか。そういうのはぜひ味わっていただきたいですね。
まあ私の仕事とは直接関係ないんですけど、絵は綺麗ですよね。あとキャラクターのアニメーションとかが、まあ私なんかこうなんとなくアートを感じるんですけども、そこはなんか自分にとっては新鮮なんで、皆さんも楽しんでいただけるんじゃないかなと思っています。
何が起こってるの？まさか死んじゃったなんてことはないよね。
Oh man, how awkward was that poor meeting in the last stop trailer? Like I felt it in my soul, Brianna. How awkward it was for that guy. What'd you think?
I mean, you know what? I really appreciated that for Last Stop. They gave us a demo. I feel like so often with gameplay trailers, you don't really know what's going on, or sometimes the trailer doesn't really reflect how the actual gameplay is. So big shout out to them. I am very excited for it, but I'm also very excited for this next section coming up. Now, we've learned so much today about unique indie titles that are coming to Xbox soon. But we know what you guys are wondering at home, myself included. What games are coming to Game Pass? Well, I think we have the answer for you. Let's take a look.
¿Esto qué va al Game Pass? ¿O van a explicar?
Ahora supuestamente van a hablar de todo lo que va a entrar en Game Pass. Estos juegos ya están ahí. El Haven, el Deep Rock. Ese no me interesa. Este tampoco. Ese sí, Astria Ascending, ese sí me gustó. Este es el Omno que tú decías. Es raro. El Nobody este también. El Moonglow también. El Ascent. El Art of Rally. Craftopia. un dungeon.
Stalker.
Sí, ese iba a Game Pass, te lo dije. Age of Eternity, ¿en serio? Agüita, loco. Eso es eso ya que es palabras mayores. Estos son los que están disponibles ahora. Stellaris, Falconeer, pero estos ya son...
Sí, son lo que... Sí, esto es un resumen.
Game Pass hype! So many great games coming to Game Pass. I mean, like, I've tried to keep track of them all, but they were flying at me so fast. Celeste, Wild at Heart, Nobody Saves the World, The Ascent, and for everyone who's been asking for it in chat, Library of, is it Ruina or Ruina? I know I'm going to say it wrong, but yes, coming to Game Pass, which is super exciting. Game Pass is so dope. Harrison Ave, I see you there in chat. But yeah, so we've seen a lot of great games today. We've seen a lot of teases, and of course, super hyped. Brianna and I are both super hyped about what is coming to Game Pass. But I just want to take a moment to thank everybody who's joined on the show today. We had Chris Charla from ID at Xbox earlier, Victoria Tran from Inner Sloth for Among Us, Gwen and Trina were here to talk about from Chikung Club to talk about Soup Pot. Lewis was here just recently to talk about 12 Minutes. Graham and Ian talking about Nobody Saves the World, which was awesome from Drinkbox Studios. Zach
Sí,
and
no,
Lou were
no,
from
no
Buddy Hug, and they were
mostraron
talking about
el
Moongrove Bay.
debunk,
Mark and David were here from
que me
Asper talking
sorprende,
about
porque
Death's
encima lo anunciaron ellos mismos, Twitch Gaming. Scavenger, después el de Snowboarding.
You guys were all awesome, and Brianna and I literally have done the show and shown you all of these wonderful
Me sorprendió.
without you.
Porque eso encima lo pusieron ellos mismos, Twitch.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're at the end of our show. This was so amazing to be a part of and co-host with you. I do want to take a minute to shout out to production for holding it down behind the scenes. I know it is not easy putting these shows together and getting everyone in their right places where they need to be. So thank you. We do appreciate you. Now, if anyone's, looking for me on the internet, my name is Story Mode Bay. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, if you're into that sort of thing. Come by and say hi. I promise I don't bite at all. Now, Trisha, where can everyone find you?
If people want to find me on socials, on Twitter, Instagram, etc., it's that girl Trish with no I in the girl, so just that GRL Trish. Or right here on Twitch, you can find me at Trisha Hirschberger. Just my name. It's like right there. Yeah, right there. But this has been so much fun. If you are an indie games fan, I do an indie games showcase on my channel every Tuesday. But you can expect to see lots of AAAs and stuff on my channel as well. But we have a real good time. Stop on by and say hi to the Dragon Rider Army. And thank you to everybody who's been here in chat, who's been commenting. We see you. Thank you just for participating in the show. And also shout out to anyone co-streaming this event today.
Yes.
I know all the things here on Twitch Gaming are co-streamable. So to all my co-streamers out there, what's up and thank you. So again, just thanks to everyone who was part of the showcase today. I hope you found a new indie game to fall in love with. And we'll see you soon with more great content here on Twitch Gaming. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Pues ya está.
Estuvo bien.
Sí, no llegó tampoco a nada. Pero está bien.
Pero me sorprendió que no enseñaran. Faltaban muchas cosas, de lo que originalmente anunciaron. El Exomega sí me tiene bastante curioso. Y ese supuestamente va a ser free to play. Pues está. A ver, no estaba mal.